For guys like me, cowboy movies were a way of life. Growing up, we loved going to the movies and watching them on TV. But we didn't know that the Hollywood version of the Wild Wild West and the reality were worlds apart. Cowboys represented the hero, and in the screen version, the hero was always white. His mortal enemies were outlaws and Indians, and not necessarily in that order. 9 times out of 10, not only did the hero get the bad guy, they also got the girl and all the glory. There was a mystifying allure in the unforgiving migration west. Couple that with man's innate drive to search for a better life in a new land, and you could see why this was a time of great change. The hope of striking it rich was fed by the promise of gold or silver, a tantalizing motivator. You need to understand that this vast, unsettled territory, viewed by many as a gift for the taking, was in fact already occupied by the many different Indian nations. Truth be told, there was a time when the Indians were the only ones. It was rightfully their land and their way of life. It took decades and brutal wars to change that. Fulfilling the dream for a piece of land most often meant fighting the Indians, dodging bushwhackers and avoiding horse thieves. The slaughter of bad guys, including Indians, became part of the price for control. Bringing law into the territory came later. And oftentimes it seemed that the law was always one step behind. The development of new forts and eventually new towns was indeed a bloody process. And that was the overused plot for many cowboy movies. Later, when the railroads were completed, the story shown on the screen changed even more. Believe me, TV and Hollywood love to tell this story, depicting aspects of the life in the West: courage, romance, brutal battles, new towns, saloon life, men, women, children, and animals. TV and Hollywood also taught us about the Indian. But what we saw and heard, we now know were lies. All lies. The real West was hugely complex, and its true story kept concealed for decades. Guys like me grew up watching white cowboys playing the parts of heroes and the bad guys. Some of the same white guys played the Indians. You could also find Jewish and Greek actors hired because of their noses and olive-colored skin. Both played Indians for a long time in Hollywood. Not until the late 1950s were real Indians, Native Americans, used in films. And you know why? The R word, that's right. The ugly face of racism reigned in Hollywood like everywhere else. John Wayne, Henry Fonda, Gary Cooper, and a host of other white actors killed a hell of a lot of Indians in movies. The choice of the white actor was not restricted to the male gender only. The Indian princesses would be white women with blue eyes and bad makeup. They had us. They had us all fooled. I would be willing to bet every white male A-list actor of a certain age from 1903 until 1960 has either played the hero character or the bad guy in a cowboy movie. As a lover of cowboy movies, I can personally attest to the fact we ended up feeling love and admiration for both the hero and the bad guy, despite this adulterated portrayal of truth in history. This is the real mindfuck. If I could count all the hours I played cowboys and Indians, it would be staggering. What a travesty I had not known there were so many black cowboys in history. Mexican and mixed race cowboys to boot. The Indians were not the bad, bloodthirsty savages they were portrayed to be. I have come to realize for myself that incredible diversity existed in the peoples who populated the real West. Hollywood flipped the script to serve their own purposes, to continue exerting their control. They gave me and a whole bunch of other little boys across our country for generations a distorted picture of real history. Simply put, Hollywood whitewashed the Wild Wild West. The Old West film genre was one of the most important lucrative categories in filmmaking. The popularity of these films fed the insatiable appetite for profits of those who financed and approved what was shown in films. On their shoulders rests a heavy responsibility for the dismay and disillusion centered around the history. We reject their premise of the real West won only with white men and women. Let the truth be known and added to the annals of history. The real West was won by men and women of many creeds and colors. I have never lost the taste for a good Western. Even now, as an adult, I created the character of Nathaniel Blackcloud a long time ago to fulfill my own longing for a black cowboy hero, to paint a more realistic portrait of history. Heroes were always important to me, and are even more important to young people today. They need to read stories of real, down-to-earth heroes that look like them. This cowboy story is for them. It's for them. It's for them. It's for them. It's for them.
Watch out, the man they go. Diablo, Negro. Look all around. Have you seen it? Can you really tell me about the story of the man?
Let me tell you how the West was won, when the legends was made at the end of a gun, when living was hard, life was rough. Sometimes all you had just wasn't enough. Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid, and Jesse James, and all the rest, supposed to be the baddest of the band.
Can you tell me about the legend of the story of the man?
I know I gotta watch out, strong as an ox and black as the night.
El Diablo Negro.
Kill you with his hands with a gun or a knife. Hands of stone or he's ready to fight. Don't seek no mercy, don't want no trouble. Dish it out, you're gonna get it back double. Born and raised by an Indian squaw. Daddy was a runaway from Arkansas. Raised up in Indian ways, born to be a chief among the other brave. Straight with the narrow, could ride like the wind. Heart of a lion and strength of 10 men. This is how the story happened one night. Calvary came, it was a hell of a fight. TV's on fire and guns ablazing. The loss of life, the numbers were amazing. No time left, no time to decide. Had to grab his horse, he had to ride. Don't worry, this ain't the end. This is where the legend really begins. From Pizza.